There are moments in history, moments when heaven no longer whispers, moments when the voice that sustains all things falls silent. When that silence comes, the earth trembles, the stars hesitate, and every soul feels it. Long before the last trumpet sounds, there was a prophecy, a day when God would silence the world. Not in punishment, but in warning. 3 days of silence, 3 days when the earth would remember who its creator truly is. This is not a story of shadows. This is a story of power, of the King who speaks worlds into existence, and who, with one breath withheld, can bring everything to its knees. The silence did not begin with thunder. It began with stillness. The winds that once danced over oceans stopped. The trees that swayed in harmony with the rhythm of creation stood frozen. Birds fell quiet. The seas were calm like glass. Even the smallest whisper of life was held captive in the air. It was the silence of eternity, the kind of silence that isn't empty but full, heavy, holy. And then came the darkness, not the night that men know, but a darkness that breathes. It covered cities, mountains, oceans, and deserts. No sun, no moon, no stars, just an endless void pressing down upon creation. And the world knew. This was not nature. This was not chance. This was the voice of God withdrawn from the earth. The prophets had spoken of it long before the silence came. They had warned of a time when men would cry out and hear nothing. A time when prayers would meet silence, when the heavens would close their mouth and the world would remember. On the first day, fear consumed humanity. People ran to their temples, their gods, their idols, their technology. They begged the skies to speak, but nothing answered. The powerful lost their power. The proud lost their voices. Even kings bowed their heads before the invisible throne. The silence was not absence. It was presence, the kind that exposes everything, every thought, every secret, every sin. Men tried to shout louder than the silence, but their voices meant nothing. Nations tried to shine brighter than the darkness, but their lights were swallowed whole, and in that void, hearts were weighed. On the second day, the earth began to tremble, not like an earthquake, but like a living creature under the weight of its creator. Mountains shook, oceans groaned, the sky bent, every living thing felt the weight of divine authority. And the angels watched in silence. They had seen this before. They had seen what happens when the voice that gives life pauses, when the Creator lets his creation feel what silence means. Men fell to their knees. Tears soaked the earth. Every false god, every idol, every deception collapsed like dust, because when God silences the world, no other voice can rise above him. But even then, even in terror, some hearts hardened. Some still refused to bow. They shouted against the silence, cursed heaven, and their voices were swallowed by the darkness. On the third day, something changed. The silence deepened. It was no longer around them, it was within them. Every heartbeat echoed like thunder. Every breath felt borrowed. The world stood at the edge of eternity, waiting. And then, a sound, not thunder, not an army. A single breath, the breath of God returning. The darkness trembled, the mountains bowed, the oceans sighed, and the silence that had wrapped the world like a shroud was torn open. A light burst from the heavens, not a gentle sunrise, but a holy fire. It did not warm, it consumed. It did not comfort, it awakened. And from the throne came a voice that no one can ignore, a voice that has no rival, a voice that once spoke the universe into being. Be still and know that I am God. The earth roared in response. Every creature fell silent again, but not in fear. In awe, in reverence, in trembling love. This silence was different. The first was judgment, the second was weight, the third was glory. When the voice of God returned, it did not explain, it revealed. Hearts were opened, nations were exposed. The faithful were strengthened, the proud were shattered, and all knew that no kingdom stands when the Creator withdraws his breath. No power remains when heaven closes its mouth, and no name is greater than the one who speaks or stays silent. 3 days, 3 days that changed everything, 3 days that will come again, because this silence was not just a warning of the past, it is a shadow of the future. The prophets spoke of another silence, a final silence, when heaven will stand still one last time before the end. When the 7th seal is opened, when the world will fall quiet, and the King will rise to judge, when that day comes, no one will hide, no one will escape. The silence will find every soul, and only those who stand under the blood of the Lamb will stand at all. The silence is coming, not to destroy, but to awaken, not to punish, but to reveal. To make all creation remember that the throne above is not empty, that God reigns forever. When God silenced the world for 3 days, he did not lose his voice. He made the world listen, and when he does it again, every knee will bow, every tongue will confess, every soul will know that he is the Lord. The silence is nearer than we think. The heavens are already holding their breath, the earth already trembles, and soon the world will fall quiet. 3 days, 3 days that will shake the earth, 3 days that will reveal the King. If this message resonated with you, please consider subscribing and sharing it with others who need to hear it.